Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I thought we would whip out our colour cube and do colour cube version 2. If you haven't watched the first video, then please go check that out. It'll be linked up there, and then come back and watch this, of course. But if you don't know what a colour cube is, it is by a wonderful artist called Sarah Renee Clark. You can find her here on YouTube, and she has this amazing array of resources for artists or non-artists alike that you can go and find on her website, which I will link in the description below as well. And this is, there's two of these. There's the colour cube version 1 and the colour cube version 2, and these are boxes of just tons and tons of swatches. So you can find a massive, let's not get the instructions out. You can find an array of this type of thing here, swatches upon swatches, where there's an image, there's the colours taken from that image that work together beautifully. And on the back here, you can find the hex codes and just more gradients of that image. So really beautiful resource to have. Now I have both cubes. In the last video I actually used cube 1, and I'm going to be using cube 1 again today. So I'm going to just pull from the back here because this is what we will be working with. So it is a lovely array of pinks and some warm greys, and there is this reference image of a chair and a balloon, and these are the image colours at the back here. Now I think I'm going to go with the same set out that we did in the last video, where I'm going to find the supplies that I want for this. I'm going to swatch out the image, paint the image rather, and then we're going to find a reference and we're going to try and apply those colours just to the reference. That's nothing to do with this reference here. Now I think that's going to be the best way of doing it. Let's get into it. Let's go and find some supplies and let's apply those supplies and do a reference photo based on this swatch. So as you can see here, I did in fact do this at the same time as the first video, so just ignore the fact that you can see that first swatch there. But I started out finding some colours that I thought would match, and I picked out some colours from my Copic markers and also my pigment markers as well, my Winsor & Newton ones, two of my favourite supplies, and tried to dot them on there. But as you can see, they were just very much off. I couldn't get the colours I needed, so I thought I would whip out my Himi Jelly Gouache and mix those colours. I did at first think that I had the colours I needed, however when I started to swatch them I realised I didn't. They were just not as warm as they needed to be. So those pinks and magentas I actually added quite a lot of yellow to really warm those colours up and create that correct colour that matched the swatch card. And it took me a hell of a long time to mix all those colours up, but I made sure to mix big batches up, and then I let them dry so that I could use them almost like a watercolour when I was doing the actual paintings. And as per the first colour cube study that I did, I drew round the actual swatch here so that I could create the box that I would sketch and replicate the reference image in, and it was a very difficult reference image to do. It was very small with a lot of detail in, and the colour of the chair wasn't included in the swatch colours at all. It was this kind of white creamy colour, and to create this consistent look between this reference image, my swatch card, and the image I decide to do in these colours, I wanted to make sure I was only using the colours that I had mixed and chosen and were on the swatch. So I actually changed that white cream colour to the lightest pink that is included in the swatch. So that's the only difference that I made there, but it was a very difficult painting to do, and actually using the gouache in this way at this small scale I found very difficult personally. I'm not really sure why, but I really did, and I struggled to get that highlight on the balloon as well. But you'll see that in the next few clips, and then I'll pop back on when we go on to the next painting. So for the actual image that we decided to paint in these colours, I wanted to go for something very, very different and very opposite to the reference image that was on the swatch card, and therefore I went for an animal. So I found a cat reference, and I thought it was a really lovely reference of this cat looking forward, and it was a tabby cat, and I thought I could play on the contrast between the pinks and the greys with the tabby fur colours and kind of lean into that to allow me to use both the pink and the grey effectively, and it was really, really fun to do. I blocked out a lot of the colour, as you can see here. I was just blocking out your lights, your mids and your dark tones, and when I go in with the grey to add a little bit more detail. But it was really, really fun to do, and I've been trying to paint cats a little bit more because I always find every time I paint them they always look so angry and I really wanted to work on that, so I was really pleased that this looked a little bit better than usual. And there was a point that I wish I had left it at before adding some darkness around the mouth area, but I think, I mean, it is what it is, that's how it's turned out, but there was probably a point that I could have stopped prior to that would have been better. So as you can see here, this is me painting the different colour. I think this was the lighter fur in the reference image, and then where the pink is all the darker fur, or it might be the other way around, I can't quite remember, but this is me just leaning into the greys only in this section, and then the pink area has the pinks predominantly with grey texture detail on there just to allow me to incorporate that dark grey to add the really dark areas. So it was so much fun. I enjoyed using the fine brush here just to create all the fur and really paying attention to where the lights and darks were, because I find using a different colour to your reference is actually sometimes quite difficult to pick what you're applying the colours to, and I think the best way to do it, and my suggestion if you are going to try this sort of thing, is to look at the colours of your reference image and almost pick them out and apply them to the colours you're going to be using. And I think that will help, because then when you're painting, if you see one colour, you know that's going to be a dark pink, and if you see a different colour, you know that's going to be a grey, and that really does help, I find. But I think I'm going to leave you to it. I really enjoyed this. It was really, really fun, and I'm still really loving using these colour cubes, and it's really pushing me to use different colours for things. And I'm actually going away soon to Barcelona, and I'm really excited because I think this has helped me choose a bit more of a limited colour palette and not take so many art supplies away that I'm feeling like I'm a pack mule carrying them all. So I feel like I can really just hone down the supplies that I'm going to be taking. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give me a thumbs up if you have, and if you've made it this far, please leave me a little cat emoji and maybe even a pink heart, one or the other, so I know you've made it this far. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.